it's Lizzie. Welcome back to my channel. Do you have a child with whom you cannot connect, you cannot talk to? The child is having tantrum, misbehavior, is disrespectful? I talk with Nicholeen Peck about those type of behavior and what parents can do to have better relationship. So, if you want to know more, you should know about self-government. Watch the video, Nicholeen explains everything.
Government is being able to determine the cause and effect of any given situation and possessing a knowledge of your own behaviors so that you can control them. So what that means is you understand cause and effect in relationships, not just in scientific means or things like that, but if I am angry at my children, they don't trust me, right? That's a cause and effect thing. Or if a child lies to their parents, then the parents feel like they can't trust the child's judgment in many things, not just in the one area where they lied. People don't understand that. In fact, people don't understand that when they emotionally dump on somebody enough that that person starts to withdraw from them, not get closer to them. They want someone to get close to them, but they're actually pushing them away. They don't understand how people work in relationships. So that's cause and effect. And then the second part, possessing a knowledge of your own behaviors so that you can control them, is where a person does the brave thing of examining themselves all the time and saying, wait, am I doing what I ought to be doing, and who am I becoming who I ought to be? And if not, I need to make a change. Now, these things can be taught even to little ones, even to toddlers. Even though their brains, their little prefrontal cortexes are very small, you can start training them to examine themselves, make better choices, learn cause and effect, and honor parental authority and have a good bond with family and parents. You can teach all of that even when they just have basic communication. So I've seen people with children age 2, my own children, by the time they were age 2, could do all 4 of the 4 basic skills that are taught in those children's books that I held up a moment ago. So it's really a liberating thing for families and relationships to learn how to problem solve in any situation by making a plan and using skills. And basically, that's what self-government is.
Okay. And how parents attain that level of self-government? What are the steps of the process?
Yeah, okay, so that's a really great question. In fact, you hit on something really good. And that is that if a child is going to learn self-government, the parents have to learn self-government too, right? They have to master themselves, which means the parent has to decide that it's okay to take a good, honest look at themselves and say, what am I doing that's wrong? Instead of making excuses, which many parents make excuses, and they say, well, I'm doing that because they just don't listen to me, or they're a little brat, or, you know, the things that parents might say, which make us sad when we ever hear those things. But then people just laugh it off instead of nurturing an environment where a parent says, I'm really struggling with this. I know that I have a fault in it. I've got to find a skill to handle myself as I'm parenting my children. So when the parent learns certain skills, and we teach 4 basic skills to children, these 4 basic skills are for parents too. So they are following instructions, accepting no answers and criticism, accepting consequences, and disagreeing appropriately. And each one of these 4 basic skills parents have to use all the time with each other. I mean, you just think, if your spouse wants a different car than you, then what do you have to do? Disagree appropriately with them about it, right? Or if someone makes something for dinner you don't like, well, then you have to accept the no answer and eat it anyway, right? If someone cuts you off in traffic, you accept the no answer. You don't get angry and stick your hands out the window and start making complaints. No, because that's not the recipe to happiness. And when a person is in control of themselves, it's a recipe to happiness. So the parents have to learn those 4 skills. and the children get to learn these 4 skills. And each of them has a skill set attached to it. So for instance, this book here, Porter Earns a Quarter, teaches the skill accepting no answers and accepting criticism. It's the same skill set for each one of those things. And there's 4 steps to that. So the 4 steps are, you look at the person, so you establish contact with the person. You keep a calm face, voice, and body. That means you have to explain to your child, what does calm look like? What does calm not look like? You know, and what does a calm voice sound like? And what does a calm voice not sound like? Mom, 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 mom. You know, that is not a calm voice, right?
Okay.
And then you have to explain what a calm body looks like and what it doesn't look like. So they have to know the difference. So number 1, look at the person. Number 2, have a calm face, voice, and body. Number 3, say okay, meaning that you are okay with the parent giving you a no answer, or with something in your life not going your way, or if you can't find your favorite toy, or if there's a boundary line you shouldn't cross. All these things relate to no answers. So you're okay, you say okay, or you can always disagree appropriately. That's one of those other 4 basic skills. It's taught in this book, Paige Takes the Stage. So then step number 4 is drop the subject, which means you don't think about it anymore, you don't talk about it anymore, you don't go to daddy and ask because mommy already told you no, you don't complain or whine, you don't sulk and pout, you don't get angry, you don't hit the walls, you don't throw your toys, you don't hit your sister or brother. These are all things that are, when you drop the subject, you don't do any of those things. So each one of those 4 basic skills has a skill set, just like that accepting no answer skill that I just talked about has a skill set. So parents have to learn those 4 skills. They need to learn 5 teaching styles. So 5 different ways that we teach our children how to solve their problems. And they need to learn how to do it in a calm way. So they've got to have the right kind of tone and the right kind of structure. Those are 2 key elements for having an environment where a person learns self-government. So tone is what it feels like in your home, what it feels like when you're correcting your child. Does it feel safe and comfortable? Does it feel bonded? Do you feel closer to your child during and after a correction than you even did before? If so, then you're probably doing it right. But if you feel like you have to recover from correcting the child and the child needs time to get over it, then probably you need some improvement in that area. So anyway, we teach parents 5 different ways that they can help their children solve the problems and can stop problems from happening in the first place. Then we have meetings the parents can have with their children to get everybody on board and checking up on how they're doing on their self-government and on their relationships and on their education and everything. So it's a whole program. I mean, it's a whole course. People can take little pieces of it, or they can put the whole thing in practice. So some people do, little pieces. They'll use some 4 basic skills and then move on from there. Some people think, no, I've got to stop the tantrums and I've got to be able to do it in a calm way. And so they'll take the whole course.
And it is so fascinating because, when you were stating the 4 steps or the 4 main strategies, you were talking about to teach the child to disagree appropriately. And most of the time, that step does not exist. It's just you accept the answer, you accept the no answer, and you drop, and you drop it. There is no in between. Can you tell us why it is important? Because I didn't know it was. We should have that step.
Yeah, so disagreeing appropriately is a really mature skill. And what it does, in fact, I call it the gateway skill to self-government, because the children love this skill more than any other skill, this disagree appropriately skill, because it helps them get their way. They love it. But what it does that is so vital is it disengages the emotional part of the brain and it engages the logical part of the brain. So if the child knows they have a skill and they think, okay, mom's telling me no, that I can't do something. I can't have a cookie. I can't go to that party, whatever it is. Mom's telling me no, I don't like that. And they say to themselves, wait a minute, Mom said every time I don't like something, we can talk about it, but we have to do it appropriately. I have a skill for that called disagree appropriately. In fact, as a mother, I'm going to even prompt my children to disagree appropriately with me. I'm going to tell them, I'm going to give you a no answer, but you can disagree appropriately with me. I may even tell them when they're little the exact words to tell me to change my mind.
Okay.
So that they practice disengaging that emotional, engaging the logical, and they have a conversation with me about it. So in the Teaching Self-Government family, it's all about family unity, family bonding. It's about the whole family deciding together who they're becoming as a group, not about just each individual person. So in our family, we created a family vision. This is something I talk about in my Teaching Self-Government Parenting course. How we make a vision for 20 years in the future of what type of a family we're becoming. And there's ways that we talk about that and use that in our daily lives. So our children know this is about a bond here. So we want to connect, we want to discuss all the time. But there's also a point where enough discussion has happened and they need to honor parental authority, right? So that's an important thing too, but they know that there's a means or a way to discuss, and that's that disagree appropriately skill. So to disagree appropriately, what a person does is they first ask their parents. So this honors parental authority. They say, okay, Mom, may I disagree appropriately? So if I said to my child no, they would say, okay, may I disagree appropriately? And what this does is it triggers my brain, the parent brain, to go, oh yeah, I gotta listen. I gotta listen to them. I gotta connect with them. I gotta look in their eyes. So then I say yes. I always say yes unless they have already disagreed appropriately about that one thing. Then I can tell them, no, we already had a disagree appropriately time with that one, and you're going to have to accept the no answer and just say okay. But so I tell them, yes, you may disagree appropriately. Then the steps to disagreeing appropriately, they look at me, they keep a calm face, voice, and body. So they can't do it with a whiny voice. They have to do it with a calm voice. And then they seek to understand. So they say that they understand the other person's point of view. So they might say, Mom, I understand that you don't want me to go to the party because our family has something else that night.
Okay.
Then they share their point of view. But Mom, I told Susan that I would be there to help with the games. Is there a way that I can at least come late because that's when they're doing the games? So they share their point of view. And then the next step is to listen to what Mom or Dad or teacher, whoever has to say. And then they say, okay, and they drop the subject. They don't talk about it anymore.
No.
So they use this skill with each other. Siblings use this. They disagree appropriately with each other. They have to learn how to accept no answers from each other as well. Anyway, so this is an amazing skill. It teaches that they can get their way. And what I tell parents is when you're using the disagree appropriately skill, have it work. Have them get their way. I mean, this is something.
I was thinking about that.
Yeah, because then it teaches them not to be emotional. Yeah.
It's a social skill, and in the workplace, they are going to be golden because they will know how to disagree, appropriately, how to make their voice be heard, and it's important nowadays.
Oh, it's so important. In fact, I do a lot of work to try to protect families and children, and so I will oftentimes go to legislatures and meet with lawmakers, and they don't always agree with me, right? So I have to know how to disagree appropriately. I have to know how to look at things from their point of view and see why they feel a certain way, and then how to share my opinion. And this is an incredibly mature thing. When your children have this skill, they carry with them much more confidence than other people. In fact, these 4 basic skills build confidence. They help the child know that they don't have to be worried about getting emotional, getting angry, getting taken advantage of by somebody else's emotions. They know that they can control themselves. Now, this doesn't mean all emotions are bad, because we have emotions, but it's important for us to be emotionally intelligent, for us to know, well, when I have an emotion, what do I do with it? So that I can still maintain good relationships.
Yes, definitely. You were talking about, I just want you to tell us more about your YouTube channel. What can we find if we go there?
Wow, you can find so much there. So the YouTube channel is something that we've been growing pretty steadily here recently, and we release a video every single day about some sort of topic related to parenting, related to self-government. So I teach a lot of things there. So we've just talked about 2 skills, but there are so many other skills. I teach a lot of them there. We talk about other issues that maybe I don't even get the opportunity sometimes to discuss in my parenting course. Now, the YouTube channel is not a substitute for the parenting course. I will tell you that, because it doesn't have everything in place that you need to solve all the problems, but it will help you pinpoint a few troublesome areas. It will also help you get an understanding of what self-government is. It's going to help you see how to solve certain problems and what pieces of the self-government program that you might need to focus on, you know, those kinds of things. But everything on that channel revolves around learning to master yourself and learning and teaching the children to master themselves. And I've got just a little thing to tell you, and that is that it really hinges on the parents mastering themselves. It hinges. When I talk to parents, they'll tell me lots of things like, oh, my child has an attitude problem, or my child won't listen to me, or my child, you know, all these questions. And I answer those questions on the YouTube channel. But what I always have to tell them is I always have to say, so let's talk about how you're handling it. And so then when I hear how they're handling it, I realize they are taking things too personally. They are taking things emotionally, and so then they end up engaging in a power struggle when they didn't want to. So that's what we have to know. We have to know how we engage in power struggles and how to stop those, and the skills that we need so that we can break those habits, because they are habits. So some people think, what do I really need, like all these skill sets? That doesn't seem very organic. You know, it seems like it seems too programmed. And I always tell people, well, every time your child rolls their eyes at you, every time the child doesn't listen or has a tantrum, did you know that in your brain you've already programmed yourself to think the same thing? The same thought pops into your head, like, not again, or, ooh, he's just trying to, or whatever. And it's usually a villainous thought about your child. So you've already programmed yourself to do that. There's certain words that you always say, that you've programmed yourself to say. Even if they don't work, you keep saying them. So we're already robots. The thing that a self-governed person does is they say, wait a minute, is what I am programmed to say, my habits, are they actually leading me toward my goal of becoming the type of person I want to be, the parent I want to be? Are they helping my family become who we want to be? And usually, if they're completely honest, which is required to self-govern yourself, then they say, no, I think I need to reprogram myself. So then the self-governed person just makes a plan. That's what they do. All the powerful people that we look up to, from ancient times all the way up to the present, the people who really, truly, and when I say powerful, I mean wise. I don't mean by the world's terms of powerful. I mean like those people that we always go to, that we know they know. Those are people who have taken the time over the course of their lives to control themselves. They have paid the price of self-control, which is usually honesty, making a plan, changing their behaviors, following through. And in order for us to help our children have this, we have to develop it ourselves. But the good news is you don't have to be perfect at it to help your child develop it. So that's the good news. You can just be on the track of learning it yourself, and they can learn it with you.